The sky above New Denver was clear. The sun was bright, and the people gathered in silence. Something big was about to happen. A ship from the stars was landing. Captain Lisa Morgan stood with her team near the landing site. She wore a neat uniform and a calm face. But inside, she was alert. This was the first time aliens would walk on Earth. The ship was smooth and silver. It landed slowly with a soft hum. A door opened, and 3 tall beings stepped out. Their skin was light blue, and their eyes were large and dark. They moved with grace and looked around with care. Lisa stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth," she said. The leader of the aliens nodded. "I am Velora from the Arvani Collective. We come in peace." People watching from behind fences held their breath. Cameras recorded every second. History was being made. Lisa gave a small smile. "We are glad to meet you." Velora looked at the land around them. Trees, grass, and birds in the sky. "Your planet is alive." Lisa nodded. "Yes, Earth is full of life. Some of it can be dangerous." Velora tilted his head. "We have read reports. Your world is called a Deathworld by some. Is this true?" Lisa did not lie. "Yes, Earth can be hard. The weather, animals, even the plants. But we live here. We have learned to live with the danger." The Arvani team looked at each other. They spoke in low voices in their own language. Lisa turned to her aide. "Tell Aaron Blake to get ready. He'll be our guide." Aaron was a xenobiologist. He knew about life on Earth and how it was different from other planets. He walked over, holding a tablet and a smile. "Hello," he said to the Arvani. "I'll show you around. You'll see many things, some strange, some beautiful, and some that might scare you." Velora blinked. "We do not fear." Aaron just smiled wider. "We'll see." They started with a walk in the forest. The path was simple, but the air was filled with sounds. Birds called from the trees. Bugs flew close. A small snake slid across the path. One Arvani jumped. Aaron stopped. "That's a common snake. Not deadly. But some are." Velora looked down. "You walk here often?" "All the time," Aaron said. "Kids play in these woods." Later, they went near a river. The water moved fast. A bear stood on the other side, fishing. The Arvani stepped back. "That is a wild animal," Velora said. "It is large." "Yes," Aaron said, "but it won't bother us if we don't bother it." The bear looked their way, then turned and walked into the trees. Velora shook his head. "You live with such beasts. You do not fear." Aaron looked at him. "Fear is normal, but we learn to be smart." That night, they stayed in a small cabin. The wind blew hard. A storm came. Thunder shook the windows. The Arvani could not sleep. Lisa drank coffee and watched the storm. "This is just a summer storm," she said. "It will pass." Velora joined her. "Your people are different. You do not run from the world. You face it." Lisa looked out at the rain. "We had to. Earth made us strong." Velora was quiet for a moment. "I think we have much to learn." The next day, the Arvani asked to see more. They wanted to visit the deserts, the mountains, and even the deep jungles. Lisa agreed. Aaron would go with them. As the ship flew to their next stop, Aaron looked out the window. He loved Earth. It was wild, messy, and full of danger. But it was also full of beauty and wonder. And now, others would see it too. In space, other ships watched. Other eyes turned to Earth. They had heard the stories. They had read the reports. Now, they wanted to know the truth. And Earth was ready to show them. Dr. Aaron Blake stood at the edge of the Grand Canyon, with 3 Arvani scientists beside him. The sky was clear, the sun bright, and the wind sharp. The Arvani wore thick protective suits, their eyes wide and glowing with nervous energy. They had never seen anything like Earth. Aaron smiled and pointed toward the canyon. This is just one place. Earth is full of different lands, all wild in their own way. The Arvani leader, a tall and thin being named Velra, looked down into the deep canyon. This is dangerous. How your people live near such things? We hike it, Aaron replied. Some even climb the walls for fun. Velra looked shocked. The other two Arvani whispered among themselves in their language, their translator devices working slowly. Their visit had started with curiosity. They wanted to understand how humans lived on what was known as a Deathworld. But now, they were starting to understand. Earth was not just deadly. It was a place where danger was normal, even welcomed. Their next stop was the Australian outback. It was dry, hot, and full of strange animals. Aaron walked ahead, pointing at tracks on the ground. That's a snake trail, pretty big one. Velra jumped back. You let these creatures roam freely. Aaron nodded. Sure, we know how to avoid them. Besides, most people carry first aid kits and know how to treat bites. They spent the night in a small camp. The wind howled, the fire crackled, and wild sounds echoed in the distance. The Arvani could not sleep. Every noise made them jump, but Aaron seemed calm, telling stories and drinking hot tea. It's just part of life here, he said. We grow up learning how to deal with it. The next day, they flew to Siberia. The cold was brutal. Even with strong suits, the Arvani shivered. Ice cracked under their boots. Snow blew in every direction. This is too much, Velra said, teeth clicking from the cold. Aaron laughed. This is just early winter. Some humans even swim in frozen lakes for sport. They entered a small cabin where an old couple greeted them with warm soup and thick blankets. The couple told stories of surviving snowstorms and hunting in the wild. The Arvani listened in silence. They were learning something new, not just about Earth, but about humans. These people were not just survivors. They were something else. After Siberia, they visited the Amazon rainforest. It was wet, hot, and full of life. Bugs crawled everywhere. Strange birds flew overhead. Velra slipped on a mossy stone. Aaron helped him up. Careful. Nature doesn't care who you are. Velra looked around. Yet you live here too. You build homes in these places. Aaron nodded. Not everywhere, but yes. Some tribes still live deep in this forest. They've been here for thousands of years. The Arvani began recording more notes, taking samples, and snapping photos. But what they really studied was Aaron. His calm in every environment. His ease in danger. His love for a planet that tried to kill him every day. At the end of their journey, they stood on a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Waves crashed below. The sky burned orange with the setting sun. Velra turned to Aaron. Your world is not just a death world. It is something else. Something more. Aaron shrugged. It's home. The Arvani returned to their ship in silence. Their minds were full of new data, but also full of questions. Earth was not just a place of danger. It was a place where danger shaped the people, where storms made them strong, where fear became courage, where pain became learning. Velra sent a message back to the Arvani Council. Earth is not a mistake of evolution. It is a masterpiece of survival. And somewhere in orbit, other alien eyes turned toward the blue planet. For the first time, they looked not with curiosity, but with caution. The interstellar resilience trials were a big event. Aliens from many planets gathered to watch. The idea was simple. Each species would send a team. They would face different survival tests. These tests copied the hard parts of their home planets. The goal was to see who could survive best. Most people did not expect much from Earth. Many aliens still thought humans were strange. They had seen how humans lived on a dangerous world, but they thought it was just luck. They thought humans were lucky, not strong. 4 humans were chosen. Not soldiers, not scientists, just regular people. Their names were Emma Brooks, Leo Carter, Nana Hall, and Jake Rivers. Emma was a nurse. Leo worked in construction. Nina was a teacher. Jake fixed machines. They were not famous, but they were brave. The humans arrived at the event in simple clothes. Other teams wore armor and carried special tools. The humans only had backpacks with basic items. People laughed at first. The first test was on a cold, windy world. The ground was frozen. The wind could cut through metal. Many teams gave up after a few hours. The humans built a small shelter using snow and plastic sheets. They made a fire using dry plants and battery wires. They stayed warm. They even shared food with another team. The second test was in a deep jungle. It was hot and full of bugs. The trees were tall and strange. Poisonous plants were everywhere. Some teams got sick. Others got lost. The humans stayed calm. Nina used her teaching skills to keep everyone focused. Jake fixed a broken map device. Emma helped an injured alien. Leo found a clean water source. They finished early. The third test was a desert with strong sandstorms. The heat was intense. Many teams tried to hide underground, but the humans walked during cooler hours and rested in the shade during the day. They wrapped their clothes to cover their faces. They moved slowly but safely. When the storm came, they dug a shallow trench and waited it out together. The crowd watching the event started to change. They no longer laughed. They leaned forward in their seats. They whispered about the humans. Who were these people? How did they know what to do? In the next test, acid rain fell from the sky. The humans used plastic sheets and poles to make quick cover. They worked together without panic. Jake joked about it being like a bad camping trip. The other teams were confused. They were scared, but the humans were calm. After each test, the humans helped others. Emma treated injuries. Leo carried supplies for weaker teams. Nana gave advice. Jake told funny stories to make others smile. Reporters from across the galaxy started to follow them. They wanted to understand. How were these normal people doing so well? The final test was a maze filled with traps and puzzles. Some were mental. Some were physical. The humans split into pairs. They moved fast. They trusted each other. When they reached the end, they were the first team to finish. Not because they were stronger, not because they had better tools, but because they worked together and stayed calm. After the trials ended, the humans stood on a stage. Lights flashed. Cheers echoed through the arena. They had not won every test, but they had done something more. They had shown the galaxy a new kind of strength, a quiet strength, a strength built from facing danger every day and still smiling. Emma looked at the crowd and said, "We're not heroes. We're just people. Earth taught us to keep going, no matter what." The crowd stood and clapped. Some had tears in their eyes. For the first time, many aliens saw humans in a new way. Not weak, not lucky, but powerful in a quiet and special way. And somewhere, far away, others watched the humans too. They began to wonder what kind of world could make people like that. The interstellar resilience trials were over, but the talk about the humans was just beginning. Videos of Emma, Leo, Nina, and Jake spread across the galaxy. People watched them survive acid rain, sandstorms, deep jungles, and freezing cold. They watched them laugh, help others, and work as a team. In the Bryn Dominion, a large and powerful empire, General Kaler sat in his command room. He watched the videos in silence. Around him, other leaders stood with serious faces. General Kaler was not easily surprised, but what he saw made him uneasy. "They are not like others," he said. "They do not fear pain. They do not fear death. They are used to it." One of his advisors asked, "Are they warriors?" Kalar shook his head. "No. That is what makes them dangerous. They are not trained fighters. They are normal. And still, they survived everything." On another planet, a group of scholars met to talk about what they had learned. One scholar, an old and wise being named Theral, spoke to the group. "We always thought Earth was a death world," Thurl said. "Now we know the truth. Earth is the death world. No other place shapes life like that. No other world creates people who smile in danger and help others while surviving." The others nodded. They had seen the same videos. They had read the reports. Something had changed. The galaxy had new respect for humans, but also fear. Ambassador Lisa Morgan stood before the Galactic Council. The large chamber was full of beings from hundreds of worlds. They had questions. They had doubts. Some were scared. Lisa stood tall. She was calm. She spoke slowly, clearly. "We come in peace," she said. "Humans do not seek war. We do not want to control, but we will not bow. We are not soft. We are not weak." Some in the crowd whispered. Others listened closely. "Earth is not easy," she continued. "Our world teaches us to be strong. We do not fear storms. We live with them. We do not run from danger. We learn from it. We do not break. We adapt." A leader from the gentle Otheri people stood and asked, "Then why do you laugh during danger? Why do you make jokes in pain?" Lisa smiled. "Because we are human. Laughter helps us stay strong. Jokes remind us we are still alive. We do not enjoy pain, but we do not let it control us." The room went quiet. No one spoke for a moment. Then, slowly, a few council members clapped. Others followed. It was not a loud cheer. It was quiet, respectful, but it was clear. They understood. Across the galaxy, changes began. Trade routes that ignored Earth now moved closer. Schools added new studies on human survival and behavior. Soldiers watched human training videos. Leaders sent diplomats to Earth. But not everyone was happy. Some feared what might happen if humans ever decided to fight. General Kaler spoke with other war leaders. "We cannot stop them," he said. "Not because of their weapons, but because they will not quit. They do not break. They only grow stronger." The trials had revealed something powerful. Not just that humans could survive, but that they were built by survival. They did not rise above their world. They became one with it. In quiet rooms and dark corners, people whispered a new truth. Earth was not just a hard place. It was the hardest, and humans were its children. Back on Earth, Emma returned to her hospital. Leo went back to building homes. Nana stood in front of her students. Jake worked on broken engines. They were not famous. They were not rich. But across the stars, they were known. And even if they did not see it, the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. After the trials, many things began to change. People across the galaxy talked about humans every day. Some were amazed. Some were afraid. News channels played videos of the human team again and again. They called them the Storm Walkers, the Fire Survivors, the Deathworld Children. In space, the Galactic Council called for an emergency meeting. It was rare. The last emergency meeting happened 50 years ago. But now, with Earth at the center of every conversation, they had no choice. Lisa Morgan, now Earth's ambassador, walked into the large council chamber. She wore a plain black uniform. Her face was calm, but her eyes showed strength. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in a wide circle. Lights shone down from above. All eyes turned to her. A voice spoke from the center. It came from the Speaker of the Council, a floating being named Oravel. "Ambassador Morgan, do humans mean to expand their power?" Lisa answered simply, "We want peace. We want trade. We want friendship. But we will never kneel." Another leader asked, "Will you share your survival skills? Will you teach others?" Lisa nodded. "We already are. Our people are helping. We believe in learning together." Whispers moved through the crowd. Many leaders were unsure. Earth had gone from unknown to important in a very short time. Some did not trust it. On many planets, embassies were moved away from Earth zones. Some trade ships were told to stay clear of human routes, but not all were afraid. Some saw new chances, new alliances, new strength. The Arvani Collective sent a message to Earth. They'd wanted to begin student exchanges. The Otheri asked for help building safe shelters in dangerous places. Even the cold and proud Bryn Dominion asked for talks. At the same time, human leaders on Earth began to act. They opened special schools for alien students. They sent engineers, doctors, and teachers to space colonies. They trained others in survival, not just with tools, but with mindset. In one training camp on a cold moon, Leo Carter helped young alien workers learn how to build safe shelters. He showed them how to dig, how to cover, and how to stay calm. When a sudden storm hit the camp, the trainees panicked. But Leo laughed and said, "This is nothing. Let's make some hot tea and wait it out." In another part of the galaxy, Emma Brooks was working in a hospital on a hot and dusty planet. The people there had no medicine for heat sickness. She taught them how to cool the body with simple tools and how to care for each other in hard times. Nina Hall wrote small books in simple alien languages. Her books were about how to stay strong in fear. She told stories about growing up with tornadoes and earthquakes. She said, "Fear is a teacher. Listen to it, then do what you must." Jake Rivers took a different path. He left on a solo mission to a wild and untamed jungle planet. People lost contact with him. Some thought he was gone. But months later, a message came. He had found two warring tribes and helped them make peace. He taught them how to share tools and defend their homes from the wild. He also taught them how to laugh. Back at the council, things were changing. New laws were written. New rules were made. Earth was now a key planet, not just for its danger, but because of what it made, humans who did not give up. Lisa stood again in the council. "We are not the strongest. We are not the smartest. But we are the most stubborn. Earth taught us that, and we will share what we know, not with fear, with hope." The speaker of the council looked around. Most leaders gave small nods. A new age was starting. And above Earth, in the sky full of stars, many eyes watched, some with worry, some with wonder. Earth was no longer just a blue planet. It was now part of the galaxy's future. On Earth, things were changing fast. For the first time, all nations worked together. Borders began to fade. Old arguments were put aside. People understood now. They were part of something much bigger. The galaxy was watching, and Earth had become important. World leaders met in a new place called the Unity Dome. It was built on a high mountain where snow touched the sky. From there, you could see the clouds, the stars at night, and the land below. It was a perfect place to think about the future. Inside the dome, leaders sat in a wide circle. There were no flags, no thrones, no big speeches, just people trying to understand what came next. "We are not alone anymore," said the President of Canada. "We must act like one people, one world." "We have seen what we can do," said a leader from Kenya. "Now we must teach. We must protect." They agreed to create the Earth Defense and Aid Group, or EDAG. It would not be an army. It would be a team. A team to help, to teach, and to defend if needed. Emma, Leo, Nina, and Jake were chosen as the first global mentors. They were not just survivors now. They were symbols. People trusted them. Emma trained medics. She showed them how to treat wounds in space, how to care for different alien bodies, and how to stay calm in fear. Leo led a group that built strong shelters and clean water systems on planets with wild weather. He also worked on Earth, helping rebuild old cities and turning them into training grounds. Nina worked with young leaders. She helped them learn how to speak to others, how to listen, and how to solve problems without fighting. Jake stayed in space. He moved from world to world, fixing machines and broken hearts. He never stayed in one place long, but his name spread like fire. On a moon near the edge of known space, a small village faced a disaster. A firestorm, rare but deadly, came without warning. Ships could not land. People were trapped. Many gave up hope. But then a small craft came through the storm. It was old and shaking, but it made it. Out came Jake Rivers, covered in ash, smiling. "Let's get to work," he said. He helped people dig trenches, move supplies, and keep calm. When the storm passed, no one was lost. It became a story told across the stars. Back on Earth, strange things began to happen. Small groups of humans started to show new skills. They could run faster, think quicker, survive in harder places. Scientists studied them. "It's the pressure," one doctor said. "Earth pushes people. And now that pressure is waking something inside us." Some called it evolution. Some called it change. Whatever it was, it made the galaxy even more curious. What was Earth truly creating? Alien students came to Earth schools. They walked its wild lands and lived in human homes. Many were scared at first, but they learned. One young alien, Jiro, wrote in his journal, "I was afraid of rain. Now I dance in it. I used to fear pain. Now I see it as part of life. The humans are not just strong. They are free." News spread of a new festival on Earth. It was called the Fire Night. Every year, people built small fires and shared stories of survival, hope, and laughter. Aliens from many worlds came to see it. They sat beside humans and felt the warmth. Emma stood before a group of children, human and alien, and said, "The fire shows us what we are. It burns, but it also gives light. Earth burns, but it also gives life." The galaxy had seen wars, peace, power, and fear, but now they were seeing something new. A world that did not try to be perfect. A world that survived. And a people who were shaked by storms, but still smiled at the sky. Far beyond the known stars, a new threat was rising. They were called the Veln. No one had seen them in many years. They lived in the dark part of space, where suns were few and cold winds ruled. The Veln were silent, hidden, and full of hate. They did not want peace. They did not want trade. They wanted control. They believed that only the strong should live. They saw kindness as weakness. When they heard about Earth and its people, they did not fear. They were angry. How could a world like Earth, a place of chaos and storms, now lead others? The Veln sent a message to the Galactic Council. "We will take Earth. We will break its people. We will show the galaxy what real power is." The council met at once. Panic spread. Earth was strong, but the Veln were many. Their ships were large. Their weapons were cruel. Lisa Morgan stood again before the council. Her voice was clear. "We will not run. Earth has faced many storms. This is just one more. We will stand." Emma, Leo, Nina, and Jake were called once again. They were no longer unknown. They were leaders now. Emma was sent to a medical base on the moon of Caro 7. She helped set up shelters, trained medics, and prepared for the wounded. Leo worked with engineers to build defenses on Earth and nearby planets. He used simple tools, fast hands, and big ideas. Nina became the voice of Earth. She spoke to other species, asking them to join. "This fight is not just for Earth," she said. "It is for all of us who believe in hope." Jake led a group of scouts. They flew deep into dark space to learn about the Veln. He smiled before each mission and said, "Let's poke the monster and see what happens." The Veln came fast. Their ships covered the stars. Planets fell silent. Many ran. Some tried to fight and failed. But then something happened. On one broken world, the Veln found humans waiting. These were not soldiers. These were farmers, builders, and teachers. But they stood firm. They had traps. They had tools. And they had fire. The Veln attacked. The humans fought back, not with hate, but with will. They made the Veln bleed. Word spread. More humans joined the fight. They used the land, the weather, and their minds. They turned swamps into traps. They turned storms into shields. They used laughter to scare their enemies. Other species saw this and were inspired. They joined the fight. The humans taught them how to survive, how to keep going when tired, and how to fight smart. Emma's medics saved thousands. Leo's walls held strong. Nina's words moved hearts. Jake's team found a weakness in the Veln ships. In one final battle near a dead star, Earth's fleet stood with many others. The Veln came in waves, but this time, the galaxy was ready. Jake flew his ship straight into the center of the Veln command fleet. He found the core and sent the signal. Now, missiles from Earth hit the weak spot. The main ship broke apart. The Veln turned, confused. They had never lost before. The battle was hard. Many lives were lost. But the Veln left. Their power was broken. They would not return soon. After the war, the galaxy changed again. Earth was not just a death world now. It was the world that stood when others fell. The world that taught the stars how to survive. In a quiet place on Earth, near a forest and river, a small stone stood. It read, "To those who came from fire and gave light to the stars." Emma, Leo, Nina, and Jake stood before it. They did not speak. They only smiled. The sky above them was clear. The wind was soft. The world was still dangerous, but the people of Earth were ready. And now, the galaxy knew Earth wasn't just a death world. It was the death world. And its people were more than survivors. They were the spark that lit the stars.